the Paragon of Sports Talk Excellence, the Lance J Radio Network, coming to you live from KDUS NBC Sports Radio Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm your host, the one and only James Lewis III, here with my infamous co-host, the first lieutenant of the Universal Flip Mode Squad. What's going on, Rampage?
What's going on, brother?
Always good to be in the booth with you. We have a really good show tonight. So many topics going on with the NBA playoffs really ratcheting up. You got the NHL playoffs ratcheting up. So many things going on in the hip-hop and pop culture world. We're hoping to have maybe even a guest or two call in tonight.
Yeah.
But I don't care about any about that. I'm going to start.
You just went right in.
I'm going to start. Our show is not sponsored by Best Buy.
Real talk.
Do not go to Best Buy in Anthem, in the Norterra area, or the Best Buy that's down in the Biltmore area. Do not go to those places.
Why?
I went. So Rampage, me and Rampage were talking about. We get an overwhelmingly positive response when we do videos.
Right.
So I said, you know what? Let me go out, get a 4K camera. We've been doing kind of bootleg videos just straight off the computer, straight off the iPad. Rampage was gassing me up. I do get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of DMs.
Right.
I get a lot of feedback about our videos.
Right.
They circulate very well on Instagram. They circulate very well on Twitter.
Right.
So this afternoon, Rampage, I said, let me go to Best Buy. Let me go and invest in our product, in our brand.
Right.
Let me go to Best Buy and get a camera and take a look at some cameras.
Correct.
So I go to Best Buy. I'm at Best Buy, and I'm looking around cameras. First and foremost, there are 37 people that work at Best Buy.
Correct.
So they're like, you have so many people walking around. If you've ever been to a Best Buy, there's so many people walking around with the Best Buy Polo. Then you have the Sprint people. Then you have the Geek Squad people. Then you have
Geek Squad.
the Cox Cable people.
Right.
So there are 38 people walking around at Best Buy doing absolutely nothing. They're not talking to anyone. They're not selling anything. They're walking around, socializing, playing on their phones.
Right.
So I have to wait for 15 minutes just to get somebody to talk to me. Now I'm in there. I'm there with the cash in hand, Ramp. I have money. I'm in there to buy. I'm gonna buy a camera. I'm gonna get down to the studio. I'm gonna set it up, and then we're gonna test out the new camera and get some videos up.
Right.
This young millennial, so the mumble rap equivalent of the Best Buy person, after I've been waiting there for almost 20 minutes,
Right.
saunters up to me very slowly and says, "Hey, sir, would you like to buy something?"
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I've waited long enough. I'm trying to be polite. I'm trying to be respectful. And I say, "Hey, can you show me a couple of cameras?" So we're going over different cameras. We're going to the difference between HD and 1080p, excuse me.
Right.
HD cameras, 1080 cameras. And then you have the 4K camera.
Right.
Which is supposedly the Cadillac. So I was going to go in there and buy a cheaper camera. After looking at the cameras, excuse me, I'm coughing, choking, I'm so angry. After looking at the better cameras, I'm asking him questions. Instead of him saying, you know what, I don't really know, let me get a supervisor. He's trying to improvise. He's reading off the box, Rampage. He's going into the Google and Googling the camera to show me the specs of the camera. I'm like, brethren, I have Google.
Damn.
I can Google the camera myself.
Right.
Is this these are the things that I need to do? I'm gonna shoot a documentary. We have a show. We're doing several things. Is this camera good enough?
Right.
Finally, I say, you know what? I don't have all day. I got to get to the studio. I'm going to buy this camera. So I was going to buy the nicest camera that they had.
Right.
Well over $1,000.
Right.
And I said, I'll get a tripod stand and I'll get some other stuff.
Right.
So he says, all right, I'll go back and get you your camera. And I'm like, well, isn't there a camera? I can see the same box right below the display. I was like, why can't I have that one? He's like, oh, well, I have to go back and check some stuff out. I'm like, okay, whatever. I start walking up to go to the checkout line.
Right.
This guy comes up with the wrong camera, Rampage.
Damn.
It's not the camera that I wanted. I'm like, yo, this is a Sony. We were talking about a Canon camera. This is not the right brand. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis.
Wow.
Let me go back. Long story short, he goes back. He's back there for 20 minutes. I'm standing like an idiot in the front of the line at Best Buy. This is Best Buy on Norterra Parkway up in Anthem. I'm just standing there. People are walking in front of me. I'm standing there. People are staring at me like, dude, why are you just standing here? And he never comes back. So finally, I just said to Lay, you know what? I'm out. I'm ghost.
Wow.
I'm not doing business with Best Buy. So that's my Best Buy story. The Lance J Radio Network is not brought to you by Best Buy.
Correct.
I'll be going to Amazon to get that camera somewhere else.
And cheaper.
At least if you go to Walmart, you know that the service is bad, but it's like at a 30% discount, so it's worth it. But Best Buy, you got 38 people in there and can't get no service. It's unbelievable. I just have to get that rant off my chest. It has nothing to do with sports. I don't care. Don't go to Best Buy.
Best Buy just lost a great customer.
They will never sponsor.
So if you're not going,
show.
then I'm not going.
Do not go to Best Buy.
We are not going.
Boycott.
We
boycott on Best Buy. I hope
definitely gonna do that.
The preceding comments do not necessarily reflect the views and staff of KDUS and NBC Sports Radio.
They will not be held responsible.
But the Last Day Radio Network, we're not messing with Best Buy.
Can we say F?
No, we
Best
can't.
Buy?
We can't say that. We cannot say that.
Okay.
We shouldn't say that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Oh.
So anyway,
all right.
Back to sports.
Sports.
I'm still ranting. I'm not going to talk about the Kentucky Derby because I've already gotten some texts about, are you going to speak on that? I'm not going to speak on that because I'm not into horse racing. I think that horses are majestic and beautiful creatures, some of God's best offerings.
Right.
But hitting a horse and whipping it to see how much faster it runs, just not my thing. I understand there's a very controversial ending yesterday. And I know people personally that had bet on the horse that won and actually lost money when the horse was disqualified. So I'm sorry to hear about that, but I'm not a race bettor, and I'm not really going to talk about that. What I want to talk about, what stuck out from yesterday, is Steph Curry at the end of the game having a breakaway opportunity. The game was pretty much over, but Steph Curry having a breakaway opportunity. I'm calming down. My voice is calming down. My blood pressure is going back to normal. Back to 120 over 72.
Right.
Steph Curry goes up for a dunk.
And caught a spasm.
And caught a spaz. Now, you young bulls that listen to the show, there used to be a commercial that Sprite did, and it was actually catching a spaz. It's basically if you're trying to dunk the ball, you can't jump high enough to dunk, and you get caught on the side of the rim, on the front rim. All of us that have played basketball, I talk on this show when I was 100 pounds lighter and in high school, I could dunk a basketball. And if you're 6 feet tall and can't dunk a basketball, it's kind of embarrassment. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should not be on the court. You should think less of yourself as a human being and a contribution to society.
This is not what you do.
Now Steph Curry, 6'3", we know that he has bad ankles. We know he's had a myriad of health problems. But when he went up for that dunk, and he wasn't anywhere near the rim, it looked like me maybe 20 years ago as I was starting to get fat and couldn't jump anymore. He wasn't anywhere near the rim. When I saw that, I said, Rampage, Houston can win the series. Not because they're a better team than Golden State. You saw KD went out and had 46. KD is asserting himself as the best player in the NBA, the undisputed best player in the NBA. But something's not right with Steph.
Yeah,
he can't jump, and he can't move laterally with his ankles. He's not shooting well. He's not handling the ball. He's not as quick as he normally is. And Klay Thompson's not right either. And even though it's difficult to beat Golden State, as Houston would have to do 3 out of 4 times.
Right.
If Steph and Klay are not completely healthy, it's possible. So I was wondering if you saw that and if you had any thoughts about it.
I saw the game. He got a spasm.
He did.
You know, but
it was
it's
not
at the wrong time, though.
Not one of his better days.
It was at the wrong time.
And I don't know why he tried to dunk the basketball.
He should have just shot it or laid it up.
It's self-awareness. It was a breakaway layup. Even I would have put that one in. So you just put it off the glass. If you can't jump high enough. Right.
He made a boo-boo.
He definitely made a boo-boo. I've been taking calls and people talking to me And I think Steph's a very interesting character because you see what he does in the regular season. He has the 2 MVPs.
Right.
He has 3 rings. A lot of people think that he was going to get a 4th this year, that at the end of this thing that he might end up with 5 or 6 rings. And I've always had a high premium on Steph Curry, meaning that if I had to pick 5 people and my life depended on it, and I had to pick not the 5 best players, but the 5 players that I wanted to go to battle with, I feel like Steph would be in that conversation. He would be up for consideration.
Right.
Because of his ability as a point guard to spread the floor.
Right.
So I've always said that if I had to do it, I'd probably pick Magic. I'd probably pick Steph. I'd definitely pick Mike. I'd have a 3-guard offense. And then I would probably pick Hakeem, put him at the 4, and then put Shaq in the middle. That's likely what I would do. I've had a lot of friends that say, well, they would put LeBron at the 4 because of his versatility. But Steph's in the conversation because he can shoot and he can spread the court. I think Larry Bird's in the conversation too. But we have to take a look at his playoff record and the way that he's played in the playoffs. Now, if you look at his stats in the playoffs, his stats are still 24 points a game. He's still putting up decent numbers in the playoffs. But it seems that in the biggest moments that it's always KD carrying the team. Or it's Klay Thompson having a game of his life and scoring 45 points. Or even Draymond Green, who in the finals that they lost versus Cleveland in Game 7 had 31 points. Is Steph Curry one of the best players of all time, or is he just one of the best shooters of all time? And do we have to make that delineation as fans?
I think he's one of the best shooters of all time.
But not comprehensive as a player. So you wouldn't put him up in the room with the Birds and the Magics and the MJs and those guys?
Nah, he's still in the young ball status.
I disagreed for a long time, but I think I'm starting to see the light because it's consistent. We're going to cut to break. Once again, Lance Day Radio Network, not sponsored by Best Buy. We'll be back.
We are not going to Best Buy.
NBC Sports Radio Phoenix.
Yeah.